7857. A rare in-studio appearance by a couple of guests as well on the Fly Racing Moto 60 show. So we won't have any the analysts on the line. We'll just talk to our in-studio guests about 250s, 450s, and more. Thank you to Fly Racing, flyracing.com. The code is PulpMX when you check out at Fly Racing. Chance Hymas, RJ Hampshire, Fly Racing riders making their debut this weekend in Tampa on the east side. And whether it's boots or whether it's gear or helmets, all of that stuff, they can dial you in. The Formula helmet's amazing from the folks at Fly Racing. And check out the technology behind that. And you can save with the code PulpMX direct from flyracing.com. So thank you to Fly for coming on the show. Get O'Neill Home Team Lending, Seat Concepts, 100%, Decal Works, Maxxis Tires, all on board with us, and 702-586-7857. If you got a question, a comment, or a concern about Supercross or anything else, give us a call, man. Really appreciate it. With me in studio, this gentleman's been a long-time friend of mine and now works at Seat Concepts for the last few years, helps out the Zool's Bag Company guys as well. It's Max Steffens. What's up, Max? How are you?
What's going on?
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think you've been in here before, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
This show or maybe the Pulp show?
I've never been on the Moto 60.
Okay.
Only the Pulp, yeah.
All right. And also here from Renthal and, of course, PulpMX Fantasy, Paul Perebijnos. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Steve.
You guys are in town for the AIM show here. I'll be headed down there this afternoon. So, yeah, good times. Going on. So lots to get into when it comes to 250 East Series, 702-586-7857. And taking your calls over there, holding things down in the corner, coming in on Monday night for the Pulp Show, coming in Thursday. The grind never stops for this gentleman. The Tis Legendary.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Tis, what are we giving away today?
We're giving away a pair of 100% goggles and a pair of Fly Racing Zone goggles.
All right, there we go. That's on the menu to give away to 2 random callers today. Working the video and other things. Who knows? Probably working his real job. The Travis Marks. Hi, Marks.
I am indeed multitasking, double dipping.
I'm glad there's not a Knights game on right now. You'd be watching that too.
I absolutely would be. I wish there was.
Thanks for coming in.
I wouldn't have to listen to you.
All right. All right, let's get into Fly Racing. PulpMX code to save with those guys. 100% as well. Thank you to 100% guys. Cooper Webb wearing 100% goggles, of course. Many riders out there. But they have glasses and casual wear and mountain bike products. I wear their helmet sometimes. Pulp 30 is code to save with 100%. So go to the website, punch in the code Pulp 30, save on anything and anything across the board at 100% products. So they've got a long time standing relationship in the industry going back to the 1980s, and they're still doing it today. So thank you to those guys. All right, let's talk 250 East first. 450 is exciting. Jet Lawrence, like we talked about in the fantasy pod that dropped, Paul, it's invigorating for those guys, I think. So we'll get into that. But 250 East, I mean, where do you start? 10 race winners, Supercross and Motocross, 8 Supercross winners, 11 factory riders, I think I did, or 12 factory riders. Obviously Forkner and Kitchen moved west to east at the last moment. Now we do have Hymas and RJ who are not 100%. Vial's the defending champion. Paul, I don't know, man. I feel like there's going to be a dude in 7th this weekend that's going to be like, I thought I could win.
Yeah.
Right?
I would agree with you. I'm so excited for the East Coast. A lot of unknowns. Obviously some guys that are coming back hurt, you just mentioned, but the depth and the variance, I think we're gonna have a fantastic championship. Like, I don't think it's gonna be anything like the West where we continue to have the same 3 guys on the podium. I think we're gonna have a lot of different guys on the podium.
Yeah, I really think you're right with that too. And like low key, Max Anstey has been a little bit of hype of Max Anstey. If Pierce Brown's ever gonna take a leap, it's this year on Star Bike. So besides being stacked, there's like interesting stories, between these guys where you're like, wait, like. Is this guy, is somebody going to emerge from the pack? So
yeah, I mean, we talked earlier about Seth Hammaker. He's been living in Florida, training at the Lawrence compound, getting, learning from the tutelage of Dazzy Lawrence. I've heard great things coming out of Florida that Seth has just been nose to the grindstone, head down. He's hauling ass. So it'll be exciting to think. I think to have him come in healthy and see what he can do, because he's a race winner. He's a great starter. So I think Seth could turn some heads as well. But yeah, going back to Vial, I think I'm higher on Vial than you are, and maybe than most are, because I think his bike has improved. It's the same bike he rode last year. So Kitchen has a new bike. I know his bike's probably fine, and I would agree with you that Kitchen is probably the favorite. But to me, Kitchen is 1A and Tom is 1B. I mean, after that first turn pileup last year, he went on a podium tear. And I think that will be the theme again with him in this East Coast series, and that's because I believe he's the best starter in the class. And we've heard the term start cross so many times, but I think in a wildly varied field like this, if you can consistently be top 3 around the first corner, you're going to put yourself in a position to be, especially that guy. Now we only have 9 whoops. Obviously, whoops are a bit of his, maybe his bugaboo or his not his strength, but I'm higher on Tom than I think most are. I think he's going to be in the title hunt, 100%.
I agree. He's a little disrespected as a past champion coming in. I really think that. And partly by me and partly by others, when you talk to industry people about this class, they don't mention Vial right away, and he's got the number 1 plate.
Yeah.
They mention RJ, they mention Levi, they mention Anstey, all these guys. And they don't mention Tom. But I do think some of his title last year was helped by the conditions that we had. A lot of mutters, or a lot of wet races, a lot of grooves and ruts and slop, and that's stuff that Tom's really good at. He was still great, don't get me wrong. He deserves that title. But I think that was helped a little bit by him. I think when we saw him at Salt Lake in dry conditions, now granted a title was on the line, in a shootout, but you're like, So I don't know. I need to see it. I mean, I think he'll, like you said, start cross, great.
Yeah.
He may not win a race and win this title. Like I could see that too.
I could see that too.
But Max,
1997, Tim Ferry.
Great season.
Hopefully he does the triples at least though.
Yeah. Max, for you, do you feel like Kitchen is your favorite coming in? Is there somebody else that you would pick?
Well, I'd be lying if I told you I was well prepared for being on this show, because I'm not. But I looked at the list, and like you said, it's stacked. Like the East Coast, I didn't really think it's about Hymas and Hampshire both not being 100% quite yet. I think I would pick Kitchen over Tom.
Yeah.
I do think that the track conditions will favor a little bit Kitchen this year. It depends on, obviously we have all the anomalies of open stadiums. But I would say I would pick Kitchen over Tom. I think he's more consistent. You guys just brought up the fact that I think that Tom is also one that doesn't have to win a race, and he will be consistently right there. So
I talked to RJ 2 weeks ago at last week at the WPS show, and he said, well, last week I started hitting whoops for the first time. So he's got the wrist problem, right? He's just hitting whoops. I think if RJ can get through Tampa, Detroit, then there's a break again. If he can just get a podium and another top 5 and build from there, I would put RJ. If RJ's coming in 100% healthy, him and Kitchen would be tied to me for being title guys. But RJ being banged up.
Yeah.
And then I would put them on the same level. So if RJ can get through this a little bit. Hymas, more of a question mark. Honda was even talking about him not racing Tampa. He is going to race, but there was talk. He had arm pump surgery. And, yeah, so there was talk about maybe Hymas not even doing Tampa, which he was not having that, but Honda was saying that. So I think those two start a little slow, two fly guys, and go from there. But you're completely out on Anstey hype, Paul?
I am lower on Anstey than you. I think over the course of the series, I'm lower than you.
Yeah.
I'm on board with you for the race, maybe race win, multiple podiums, but over the course of the series, I do not believe he is going to be. I don't think he will be within 25 at the final round. Let's put it that way.
All right, and Forkner's probably the wild card.
Yeah. I guess he is, but like his track record, which I know we've talked about a bunch, every time he shows up, he seems to win. I have believed in Forkner for a long time. I would love to see him come out, and he really could come out, and I don't think I'm crazy to say that he can come out and win the race.
I would be surprised, but he could. Yes,
I would be surprised too, because obviously he's been through a lot. We haven't seen him race an entire year, but damn, dude, every single time he shows up healthy for the start of a season, for the start of a Supercross season, I don't know what I don't have the records in front of me, but I bet you he's been on the podium every single time.
Are you worried about the adjustment to a Triumph after all those years at Cowie and all that? And he was off the bike since Dallas last year, early in Supercross.
I mean, there's some of that, right? He's been on Cowie's for over a decade, but I have heard a lot of great things about that motorcycle. Like obviously Jordan Smith has said positive things. Ivan Tedesco, I spoke to a lot about it. Chris Kiefer, obviously. So it just won with Jordan Smith. I think the bike's not going to be.
I think they're down on power a little bit, but the handling and suspension's on point, and whatever. They're not like they're massively down on power.
And that's like, I don't think Austin is the guy that needs a bike with a bunch of power, but if he can ride that thing and it handles well, like he's just got so much good corner speed and flow. Like I think he could. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he qualifies first.
And you would think that with Smith being successful on it consistently recently, like some of the homework, some of the trials and tribulations have been figured out, so Forkner should have a little bit better of a platform than what he would have.
And even if you're Forkner, you're coming in with a team that had never won before, gotten a podium with Jalik, had some issues outdoors. All of these things are like lingering in your head, but then your teammate on your bike is podiums and wins.
Yeah.
That's got to be a little bit of a like, okay, I know that thing can win. You know.
And I just think the change of atmosphere, like he's been under the Cowie umbrella for so long, under Mitch's guidance for so long. He's gone through so much as a person, personally off the track, through all of that. I think a new atmosphere at Triumph and working with people that don't have that history with Austin could end up being the refresher that he needs to turn him into the kind of like almost champion that he's been so many times. I believe in Austin, and I would like to see him finish the series first. I think everybody wants that.
He has to, right?
But God damn it, dude, every time he races, he can practically win, which is really cool.
Now, word is, Paul, and obviously you worked the pro circuit for a long time, and that team's still close to your heart, and you never got to the factory level, but, pro circuit, yeah.
Yep.
I heard a bike malfunction for McAdoo caused another crash for him, and he's hurt his knee a little bit. We'll see the extent of it, but he's coming in banged up, which absolutely sucks for Mitch Payton. We just saw Drew Adams go out and March, come on.
Yeah.
Because McAdoo coming in, none of us are really talking about him because I think we know it was a bad crash.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was at the Cowie tracks that day. I wasn't at the track that he crashed on. I heard about it the very first day, and that sucks for Cameron because, I mean, if you look at his finishes from last year, right, he was winning races. He had the red plate before he got hurt. But that continues to be the theme with Cameron. I think he's maybe finished one Supercross season.
I can't recall the last one he finished.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I can't recall that he has finished one.
That's so like when I think when we always are talking about at the start of the season, I'm always thinking about at the end who's going to be there in the end, and I think I put Cameron in the same group with Anstie. I think he could.
Okay.
He very likely and could win a race or two and get a bunch of podiums, but I don't see him being in the title fight at the final round.
It's tough. What is there anything, Paul, that you see that there's and I don't, but is there anything you see what's going on pro circuit and these injuries and all of that? Like, is it just literally because now if Hammaker goes out, which by the way also could happen, very easily. If Hammaker goes out, like he might just wheel himself under the freeway and just let a truck hit him.
I mean, I know 1 year a lot of their riders all got hurt in the same whoop section at their bottom track, and a lot of people told me, hey, those whoops were too much to have at a practice track, and that did get a bunch of their guys hurt. So maybe that's something. But as far as like, no, I just think like, but he's also hiring. He has some guys on his team that have had injuries problems elsewhere too. It's not just on that team, right?
Yeah.
Like he's hired some guys that have had injury problems. So no, I don't. I don't believe in that at all. When people say, "Oh, there's a curse" and all that, I think it's total bullshit.
I do too. But I was just wondering if you had a theory or
no. I really don't. Okay. I mean, I have some theories about their motorcycle and things. I think they have a new motorcycle. I think their engine package is really competitive already. I do think there's probably a lot to improve on their chassis, but it doesn't mean that they're not in the ballpark already.
Yeah.
I just think their bike will get better though.
Yeah. Fly Racing Moto 60 show. The code is PulpMX to save at Fly Racing. Thanks to the guys at Get and Athena. By the way, Triumph is using Get this year and with Jordan, and they got a win. So thanks to the folks at Get and Athena. 2-stroke CDIs, 4-stroke ECUs. Use the code, or I shouldn't say, use the contact form on PulpMX to email us, and I will send you to the Get guys, and they'll give you a discount. So Triumph's using Get and Honda HRC, of course, and the 2-stroke fuel-injected 2-strokes really benefit from the Get CDIs on there. So thank you to the folks at Get. Decal Works as well. PulpMX25 is the code to save at Decal Works. And Red Bull KTM using their graphics. They can design anything you want from the mild to the wild. Put your numbers on there. Put your logos on there. All of that at decalmx.com. Code is PulpMX25 to save. Thank you to those guys for coming on board. Seat Concepts, O'Neill Home Team Lending, Max's Tires, and, of course, Fly Racing. All right, we got some phone calls here from some people. Let's go to Seth on 4. He wants to talk 450s. What's up, Seth?
That was Seth.
Hey, guys. Appreciate you taking my call. Hope you guys are all well today.
Yeah.
I had a hot take I wanted to start with for the 250s.
Okay. All right. You gone?
It's that hot.
What's your hot take?
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I said I don't think Tom Bial wins the race. I don't know if that's crazy, but it sounds like you guys might agree.
Yeah, I don't think that's wild either, but I still think he could win the title without winning a race.
Sure. Yeah, we've seen that before.
I could definitely see that.
Okay. All right, Seth. Anything else?
Yeah, so Seth from PA, I also wanted to say I'm rooting for Seth from PA. Hammaker, hope he has a good year. But about the 450 class, I think historically, based on what we've seen, it's either Eli or Coop is the favorite because every time they've been healthy, they've beat Sexton, no? It's taken an injury.
I guess.
I mean,
yeah, I think he's right.
No, I would still pick Sexton.
I mean, I am too, but I'm trying
I
to.
would pick Sexton.
I can't argue. Like, I think he's correct.
He does have a point, but
Yeah.
I still like going into I still would pick Sexton.
I just feel like
I'm with you,
Sexton's
too.
a little more mature. He's gonna,
Yep.
the Honda I think was an issue with the front end washouts. He's not on that anymore, and the KTM is better.
Yep.
He's got more experience. Remember, I don't think we talk about him. He literally won the 450 motocross title last year. Like we don't. I mean, obviously Jet was hurt. I get it,
Yep.
but we don't think about that.
And JT has brought up multiple times, and I agree with him that maybe there is something mental in Sexton when Jet is on the line, and now he's gone. I mean, when Jet's been gone, Chase has been the best form of himself every time.
I will say that Coop seems to be building.
Oh yeah,
Like Coop is definitely gaining steam. Like it's,
Well,
but I still don't know that I can.
The move.
I don't know that I can pick
the
him.
move east for Coop is perfect.
Yeah, but Coop is definitely gaining. Like each week he's little bits are coming. So
I'm just excited. I think we're in for a barn burner.
Thanks, Seth. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk 450s in a second. Gage is on 4. What's up, Gage?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I wanted to, I know y'all kind of touched on the PT stuff earlier, but whenever we get back west or whenever we get into some of these shootouts, do y'all see Mitch calling up anybody else to
I don't think so. No, I mean, like Marchbanks got Marchbanks.
He'll be back. Like Masterpool will be back.
Yeah, it's not gonna be
it's
that long.
It's not a major injury.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Drew will hopefully be back at the next West round even.
No,
at Arlington.
Broke his collarbone.
Yeah, I think he could be back. Yeah,
it's like hip surgery, Mathis. You're walking that day. They
put
a plate on that shit,
like 2
and you're
weeks
moving
before.
Okay, so Hurlings and Drew Adams, same category. Okay. Anyways,
you're right.
Yeah,
Hurlings is a full-on man. You're right.
Drew will be back soon. So thanks, Gage. I don't see it.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Nick's on 3. Nick, what's up, man? Thanks for calling a Fly Race and Moto 60 show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
Sort of a question or / mini rant, and that's about the TV coverage, which I acknowledge has come such a long way in the last few years. But we all call the sport start cross, and I feel like they don't focus or show enough replays of the start throughout the broadcast or post-race or on YouTube. Like, why aren't there, 5, 6, 7 cameras on each top guy that we can watch and figure out and see exactly how their starts were? It just kind of frustrates me watching the broadcast knowing, okay, Tomac's far back, but they don't actually show how or why he got there, unless I'm missing something. But
I don't know if they could have that as many cameras because the cameras are situated in the stadium at certain points, right? So they do have different angles. But if you're talking hey, let's get 5 cameras on 5 guys, I don't think they could do that, because the cameras are situated. So we do get a couple different, and we get the drone, and we get different things at the start. So.
I just think they're missing some opportunity to have a whole segment on it and break it down. I know
Fair.
F1 and MotoGP all do that.
Yeah,
it's so important in the sport. I think they're.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll let JT know.
Fair. Yeah, it's a Wygant's fault mostly. I think they wanted to do it, and then Wygant said not to.
You're going to approach. Have you seen Anchorman 2? Yep. Where they have the GNN and it's the 17 different screens going on and Ron Burgundy's talking about all these different things at the same time. That's what it's going to turn into a Supercross. You're gonna have global Supercross network, 24 hours of Supercross, and it's just going to be nonstop clips of starts and stuff
I like it, Nick. It's a good point. It's a valid point. Do you want a pair of goggles from 100% or Fly Racing?
Yeah.
All right.
That'd be great.
All right, stay on hold. You can pick which ones you want. All right, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Fly Racing Moto 60 show, 250 East. 250 East kicking off this weekend in Tampa. Track was sick. A couple sand sections.
Yeah, it looks like they have that long sand rhythm like they had however many years ago that was.
It was great.
RJ just posted a photo. He said straight from the beach.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Super
proper
white,
sand.
super fine.
No, I like that. It should be interesting to see. Is there? So we kind of talked about the main guys, 250s. Is there an underdog guy that we haven't touched on, like on that side? Like, I mean, I'm thinking of a Thrasher who was in the title fight with Hunter 2 years ago. Last year he won a round, then got hurt.
Brown.
I mean, Pierce Brown.
Yeah.
Hard to see Pierce. I always say this. It's happened. It has happened. It's hard to see a guy winning his first race. I don't count Vegas SMX.
Right. I know where you're going.
And winning a championship. You got to make steps, right?
Yeah.
Pierce could win this year if he takes that leap we mentioned off the top, but I don't know about a title.
I mean, I thought the leap Pierce made last year for most of the season was consistency, which he's been lacking for so long.
But I thought he lost some speed.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So, like, the consistency was 5.5, 4.44 to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
He now needs that consistency to be top 3 or better.
Yeah.
But I think he can make that jump. But, man, like, Pierce has been pretty similar for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Not a great starter, tremendous speed, good fitness, crashes off and on. Like,
Yeah, I feel like he got rid of the crashes last year.
Yeah, I agree.
But lost some speed.
Yep.
Which is a good thing for your health.
And I do think he's probably going to be on the best bike he's ever ridden. I think that bike, the bike he got off is better this year than it was last year.
Yeah.
But I still think the Star bike is probably better than anything he's
He's
ridden.
in his 5th year, I think, as a pro.
Yeah.
If he doesn't take the leap on the Star bike, it ain't
probably
going
going to happen.
to happen, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there is that a little bit. This is big for Pierce Brown.
I agree. He needs to be getting trophies.
This is his year.
And he won at Vegas SMX in a great ride. So
that was a great ride.
There is
What
that.
about Voland?
Dude, I'm out. Like, I like Max, but he's got a handbrake, and that was a very serious injury.
Yeah.
And, like, it would be such a cool story for him to start getting top 5s or around there, like a Cody Shock ride-ish.
Yeah.
But I don't see it.
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
Okay.
I think
that's just one of the other names I saw, and I'm like, I would say I'm out as well. I think Thrasher's probably the most likely. I think he has. I would like to see Brown do it because I do think the same thing as you guys.
I would like to see Pierce do it.
Yeah,
Sure.
This is it. Like, this is kind of the chance he's got.
Yeah.
What could Hymas be considered in this conversation? I mean, he hasn't won a Supercross yet.
Yeah.
So, like, similar boat as Pierce Brown. I would have looked for him to take a jump. I know he's coming in hurt, but like, I still think Chance is going to be. I think he's going to be pretty.
He's
going to be good.
I think
he's going to be.
He's just back riding. He's riding well. He's like RJ. I think he's got to get through these two, have the week off, come out Daytona, and be better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Right, he needs to get through the first couple. He also does have a new motorcycle too, so I don't know if. And I know Joe sets up his bike completely different than. The norm, I guess, or kind of like his window is different than those other guys. So maybe there's some bike stuff, but I think, I guess if you're asking who's that underdog, I got to go Hammaker. Yeah,
I think Seth and Pierce are the most question marks and the biggest jumps that we can see out of this class. Like, Anstey's a veteran, Levi's solid, RJ's a veteran. Tom will be consistent.
Yeah,
Pierce and Seth are like, I don't know. If you told me they won, sure, and if you told me they got hurt.
Sure.
And missed some time, sure.
Yeah.
I unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at. And
Neither one would surprise you.
And McAdoo, to me, is going to be in for a struggle, I think. I mean, obviously, I think he's got a knee ligament issue, and then so that's it'll swell, and then they'll be off the bike, and they'll be icing it, and if you put it down wrong, you're done,
right.
and
And that's why I think I talked to him, I spoke about him earlier in that way. Like, Cameron has always come into the series really hot, but now he just had a major crash and nursing an injury, so I think you have to tick him down a little bit just because he's dealing with all that.
Yeah.
I think Hymas can. Back to the Hymas thing. I think if he gets through the first two, I think Hymas will be winning races. I think he can.
Yeah.
I think he has the ability. I think he seemed to learn quite a bit last year towards the end, a little bit of slowing down to get better, like versus forcing it through all the time.
Yep.
He seemed to go through that maturity phase of kind of got his shit together.
Yeah, he won a heat race last year.
He slowed down to get better. Slow to go fast.
Yeah.
And I think if he gets through this first little bit, I think he has the potential to be winning. Title might be a push, just because he's still young.
Yeah.
But I do think he has the ability.
Number 10 too. He's number 10. First time he's seen on the track since
there's
JB.
good. There's a lot of good with the JB. JB 10. That's a great.
God, the dumbest rule in the sport is giving these 250 guys these numbers. It's maybe the
It's not the
dumbest. rule.
dumbest.
It's not the dumbest.
No, there's
definitely
several
not the
more that are
dumbest.
dumb.
What's the dumbest?
Way more dumb.
What's the dumbest than giving these dudes full points for a regional series and counting it towards numbers?
Well, yeah.
mean-
points for a regional series and counting
but
towards.
that's how we got 10. That's what I mean. Like that's
not
how we.
necessarily crushed it outdoors.
You're still not going to get 10 if you
Take away the regional
take
series.
away the regional points.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
unbelievable.
I brought this up. Tell
I'm
me
going to
what you
race
think.
against half the competition, but it's going to count for the same.
Showdowns.
Yeah.
Right? So we practice separate. We do heat races separate. They finally meet in the LCQ,
Yeah.
and then we go to the main event. What
Right.
about taking just the best times out of practice? They can still practice separate, but then we just go evens and odds like normal heat rates, and then we take the best guys to the main event, not just 9 from each coast
Yeah, I
each
got
time.
it. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah. I mean,
That was the easiest sell I've ever seen.
Yeah.
well, I mean,
That was
either way, I
super
think you
easy.
can make a case either way. I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind it, and I don't mind it the way it is right now, but whatever. Yeah.
I just think because this year it feels like we have unbalanced coasts,
Sure.
I would like to see the best showdown possible.
Yeah. No, you got
Yeah,
a
the
good
best
point.
guys.
There is no doubt that this is unbalanced coast.
I would agree.
Love the guys on the West. Good job, all that, but yeah.
I think it's
you know.
it's similar in the fact that the tip of the spear is very equal.
Yeah.
But after the first 3 or 4
Yeah.
in the West,
It
there's-
tapers quickly.
Yes, and you could slide in about 10 East guys right in that kind of same
Yep.
same window.
702-586-PULP, 702-586-7857. You got a call. Question for Max Steffens from Seat Concepts, Paul Perebijnos, myself. We do have Rob on 4 with a question for Paul. What's up, Rob?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. So a question for Paul. I bought the Renthal lock-on grips and went ahead and attempted to install them. Left side was super easy. Having some issues with the right side, though. So when I put the throttle assembly together on the right side, like the cable on the back side is like slipping off the side of the cam, and it's like catching when I roll off the throttle. And I should preface, I'm very like green when it comes to mechanicking,
Yeah.
so not really sure what the issue is. So maybe you could help.
Yeah, number one, making sure that you have the correct cam for your bike, which I assume you followed our website and followed that QR code
Yeah,
to
I did
figure
the
that
QR
out.
code.
And then after that,
Yeah.
it sounds like your throttle play is extremely loose. Could that be an issue? I've seen cables roll off of aluminum throttles when there's too much play in them. So, what kind of motorcycle are you on?
It's a Honda 450.
Okay, I think there's adjustment at the housing.
There is, yeah. There's up top.
Yeah, so you should be able to loosen those two. I want to say they're 8 or 10 mil lock nuts, and then thread out your throttle cable kind of like adjustment and tighten it up, and that will keep it from falling off of the cam. I would assume that is.
I don't know how to
your issue.
describe the amount of play.
I don't either.
I just know
Yeah.
the feel.
Well,
like
in
a
my
couple
opinion,
millimeters. Like
in my opinion, the best way to do it is start your bike and turn your handlebars backward, all the way to stop both ways. And as long as your idle doesn't change, then you're not too tight.
yeah.
And I would always like to go. I always like no play.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
want
know
very, very minimal amount of play at the throttle tube. But once, like Paul said, if you turn all one way or one the other way and it revs up, you're too tight.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll try that.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Sounds
Appreciate
good, Rob. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Call on 2 is Daniel. What's up, Daniel?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks
Good.
for taking my call today.
Yeah.
So I had 2 questions. Just a quick one. I'm still catching up on Monday's show. With Jet's injury, I was just curious, was he a knee brace guy prior to this?
Yeah, I think he wore the Mobius ones, I think. Don't hold me to that, but I believe. Not 100% sure, but I
Okay.
believe he was a knee brace guy, yeah.
Just curious. My other question, you guys mentioned at the start of Monday's show, all the broken parts, the axles, the races, all of that. Do the teams keep parts on hand that are made of various materials? So if they start recognizing that we're breaking apart, we can go to a different material to try and get through without any damage?
Well, that's what I found weird about Ferrandis, right? He went through 3 axles, he told me. And I'm like, at what point don't you – so a lot of teams, factory teams will keep stock parts on hands just to give to privateers, right? You'll have a drawer in the truck full of stock stuff, radiators, axles, even triple clamps. And if some privateer comes by and needs something, you give it to him. But I would think you would have it on anyways, because for us, like our bikes, this is not valid these days, but our 250s were so close to the weight limit that we had a steel pivot ready to go in case weird shit happened and we had to throw a pivot to make weight. Not the same anymore, but there's an example of having a different material in there. Paul?
I mean, no, in my experience, we would have different material axles, but that was more so what series you're racing with. like right when you go to Europe, you have to run a steel axle. So like, no, I think some of the issues that those teams had last week were very abnormal. Like, doesn't happen very often.
Kenny was so the races, the inner race, bearing race, right,
Yeah.
for steering stem. There's the outer race that has the rollers in it. The inner race was braking.
Yeah, that's gnarly. Like,
right?
Does he run his steering
wild.
super tight?
I don't know, man.
I got to think it's that single before the finish that they were
Oh,
slapping
no, it was.
everything
Yeah,
down
everyone
on.
said
Like,
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
spoke to Grant Harlan, and he went through 3 chains because they just kept getting loose on him. And then I heard the Ferrandis axle thing.
Yeah.
And then I heard about the
Roczen thing.
Roczen steering race
Yeah.
thing. So I told Grant, I was like, hey, you need to look at axle and swing arm
I don't
and
know
all
that
this
I've
stuff.
ever, out of all the
Me
years
either.
that I was in mechanic, I don't know if we ever broke a race.
Yeah.
I broke axles.
I'm
We
with you.
broke axles,
You
but
did? Yeah.
we broke axles. But I never worked at for a factory team like either one of you. But I worked for
Paul wasn't factory. Paul was just pro circuit.
He
No,
likes, he
that's
likes
not close
to say
enough.
that.
Yeah.
But I worked for teams that we had the budgets
Yeah.
of the factory team, but we just weren't a factory team. But
Yeah.
we tested tie on axles and pivots and stuff like that, but we ended up not running them.
Yeah.
Because it was it was risky for
like
us.
for Dylan, okay, you break one tie axle, I assume, then you break another one. Don't you go to see Lars and say, "Do you guys steal axles or do?"
Yeah,
do you-
that
do you
I would
ru-
assume
I
they were
don't know.
using a stock axle, but that's still
Okay.
something's weird.
You don't think they had
there.
tie? Dylan's not on that level.
I don't
know.
think
I don't know.
I think at that track, I think with some of the transitions, some of the jumps, I bet a bunch of those teams went to steel.
Yeah, pretty.
Like I don't think anybody was.
Well,
running.
Lars liked to say we changed nothing on our bikes. Worked great. He was telling me, and all happy and proud and smug,
Yeah.
the way
Yeah,
Lars can
so
be.
like I don't like to
Yeah.
answer his question.
Yeah.
No, I don't think teams were changing materials of things because
No.
for one, they don't have a ton of options to do that, and that's just
And
like
when do you ever see
nobody
that?
they
expected
spend
these
so
issues
much
to
time
have.
developing what they're racing and what they're used to racing and how it feels and everything about it. With these guys are next level picky. Like we've
Yeah.
all worked for him, except for Tim Ferry. Of course, he's a god. He doesn't have any problems. But they're all next level picky. So when they develop it and spend all that time and get it ready, you don't really have to resort to changing a part. You would just put the same part back in. But there's always an anomaly. But I think, like Paul said, to answer your question, no, because they're prepared for what they've built the bike on. That's what they keep in the truck.
Yeah, thanks for
And
the call.
it's just crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy that you guys highlighted the single going into the finish line because, I mean, I know it's a big jump to flat, but like Kenny a couple times in the quad was just coming up way short, and my first thought was axle and spokes.
Well, it could have been that. Like the teams I talked to thought it was the jump before the finish, but it could very well be that. You know what I mean? Just ran. Nobody has really any proof of anything, but could have been all of that. They had a little roller there in
Right.
qualifying, and they took it out because the AMA didn't want guys to jump that. But Dylan told me it was 3 bike lengths quicker if you launched it. So you're going to launch it.
Yeah, you're going to send it.
I feel when it's rear axle on multiple bikes and a front race on Kenny, like that's that single before the finish line to me. Landing on your rear or slapping the front down. I think when you case a big quad like that, like your wheel is rolling over that. I don't think.
No.
I just think it's that, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Fly Racing Moto 60 Show.
You do have to give a shout out to W, Pulp Show sponsor. I'm amazed that nobody broke wheels.
Yeah.
There was some
Nobody did.
big ass jumps on that track and some big landings, and I'm amazed
No
you didn't
wheels.
see anybody walking off with a broken wheel.
Kyle's on one. Kyle, what's up, man? What's your question for the Fly Racing Moto 60 Show?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, first off, I just want to thank you and Paul for sending me a set of those Renthal lock-ons on the Pulp Show when it dropped. I've been running them, and they've been great so far.
Yeah, Paul said the sales have been great, right? The reaction to
going great
to
so
these?
far. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I've been running just the left side and running just the normal Renthal soft half waffle on the right because I've got like a
Are you a
works
Stark?
connection.
Oh, you just like your aluminum throttle tube.
Running a works connection throttle tube. Cool. And just running the glue on that side, but it's been great, and they feel exactly the same to me. So
awesome!
Shout out for that. But my question is about HRC. They've kind of mentioned them going back to some older suspension parts from last year. Is a company like Showa putting pressure on them to like use this newer stuff? And if so, why? Like I get for the sake of innovation, but if the guys are preferring the older stuff, like are they still like trying to push it?
I mean,
internal stuff that the public can't see.
Right, it's things that they think are better, right? That they've tested, they've dynoed, they think it's better. Hey, we've made some improvement. Let's try this. A lot of times, you put them on the off season, and just mentally, you're like, this is better. You feel better. You start riding Supercross after taking some time off, and And you don't really realize you have a problem until you go racing. Not a problem per se, but an issue until you go racing. And but no, these things are all done in the name of improvement, like whether it's components or parts inside or whatever. Lars made a mention that they went back to production stuff
parts
inside. So,
and I was going to ask you, right, because they have a new bike this year. So did they? And I think it was changed around the airbox and whatnot. So do they have a new shock body, like a new design or anything? So
I didn't pay attention.
And maybe that could limit the parts that they have access to, and why Lars is mentioning we're going back to production parts.
Right, because they don't have the factory stuff for the new shock body.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. I don't know if I'm wrong, but
it makes sense.
Well, to answer his question, yes, they do put pressure on them to run the newer and better stuff, but ultimately when it comes back to time and performance is key for the rider and the rider wants something different, they're going to change it.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, look at last year. Sorry.
And for the listener's question, Showa is pushing that is because they're developing parts, and there's no better place to develop a part with the best rider than the best rider in the world, right? So.
And then like last year they went Lars. So the suspension components are worn out; they're done at the end of the year. So they send them back or they destroy them. Well, remember last year early on, the boys went back to the 23 stuff the Lawrences did, and Lars said they had to scramble and find 23 stuff, and so that was the outer tubes and all of that. So. Yeah, a lot of that goes on, but it's all in the name of improvement, So, all right.
Cool.
Thanks,
Well,
Kyle.
guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, thank you to the folks at Maxxis Tires. Great mountain bike tires, of course, and developed by Jeremy McGrath for the Moto side. Fast Freddie Noren, who's out this weekend, but Hunter Yoder, Kay Clayson putting in the main events with Maxxis Tires, and soft intermediate to hard terrain tires are really good and doing well out there. So think about Maxxis the next time you're looking for a tire. We got Barry on too. What's up, Barry?
What's up? I have a problem with your privateer race.
Oh.
I think it's great what you do for the privateers and all.
Okay.
However, I think it's to the point where it's promoting mediocrity.
Why?
I feel like a lot of these guys are having their entire year made just by that race. I have a proposed rule change.
Okay.
Oh, let's hear it.
Because I think you should at least have to score 1 point or make it to a main event to qualify for your privateer race. Because a lot of these guys are hanging around every year where their whole goal is, at least I got Steve's race at the end to make my year. Rather than moving on with their life, actually getting a real job, they're keeping them hanging around.
I like this guy.
Wow.
Well, I have talked to guys. Now, we did have like Nick Schmidt, a few other guys at Sandbag to get the points to get in for sure. It's happened. But, I mean, I've talked – I put the point standings into a group chat, and like a couple of them were ashamed that they were up front in those points. They were like, that's – like Grant Harlan. Grant Harlan was ready to end his life because he wasn't even leading the LCQ points. And he's like, that's really bad.
I think you misunderstand. I understand your point on the race, I do. But I think you misunderstand that these guys don't want to have to wait for Steve's race.
Yeah,
they want to make mains and they want to make money doing it the other way.
And also, too, you get points in mains, and how you get – if you come in with a national number, you get sponsors. You get a better sponsor if you're number 80 as opposed to number 400. So making the main – and money-wise, there's better money in the main, than my race, even though my race does pay pretty well.
What is it now to make a main? Like $2,000?
Yeah, 2,200.
2,200 or something like that?
I think it's 2,200.
Yeah, so out of 17 rounds in the 450 class, you can make a pretty damn good living doing it. Like, I don't think these guys want to be there. And then when they do see that they're leading Steve's LCQ points, they're generally pissed off that they're leading. They get
contingency from their OEM for main events. They make more money that way.
This guy's just saying he wants the rider list to be made up of guys that have at least made the main event once.
Or at least put out a
sufficient effort. Literally only going to the races for your race.
I wouldn't have a full gate.
You wouldn't?
I don't think so.
I think maybe include more 250 riders at that point.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, listen, Barry, it's not crazy to say that. We had guys sandbag before. So, but I can't change the rules now, right? But maybe in 2026?
Yeah, I just want to see guys who show improvement. I like the Cade story from a few years ago. He won the most money from the LCQ race, spent it on himself, became better, and then didn't even have to race the LCQ race the next year.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of guys. I mean, I hate to call out. I mean,
Call him out.
Do it.
I don't think Starling's going to make a main this year, but he's leading your LCQ points, and he's going to make his year off your privateer race.
Yeah, but he still has to do well in the privateer race. I mean, I've got chaos. I've got a reverse order, staggered start. Like, you still got to do well.
Right.
I
understand, but he's going to show up in 2026 because of that money, even though he didn't make a single main event.
Yeah, but that's okay. He's putting his profits back into racing again the next year. Like, that's I mean,
Barry is not having it.
Yeah.
Not having it.
Steve's race is a big present at the end of the year for these guys, for sure, but they have spent a
Agreed,
ton of money
agreed.
to go
I
to
don't
all
mean
these
to
races.
sit on that aspect. I just think it should be more for guys showing more promise.
Well, listen, I wouldn't have a full gate, so I don't know if that matters to people or not.
Barry wants you to take some 250 guys then.
I take 250 guys. I take some of them.
Okay.
There's like 5 of them every year that make
More.
it. So
More, he says.
more. Okay. All right, Barry, I'll get on it, man. Thanks for the call. Do you want a pair of goggles?
Sure.
All right, stay on hold. I'll try to make you happy. I'm sorry. I've created this money and I've done a bad thing.
No, you're
No,
not too far.
I know.
Not
I'm
a great
kidding. I'm kidding.
Bad thing for guys who have no chance of
Yeah.
making the main.
Slackers like Harlan, like just slackers.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, stay on hold. We'll get you some goggles. All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk some 250s. But before that, Seat Concepts, Factory Beta, Phoenix Racing, Pro Yamaha, SLR Honda with Parker Ross, who's doing pretty well. Using Seat Concepts, ride the world. Pulp 25 to code to save with Seat Concepts. From the Race 2.0 to the Comfort Series, proprietary foam and handcrafted seat shapes. Max, you've been with Seat Concepts for a number of years now.
1 year.
What?
1 year.
That's it?
1 year.
No.
1 year in March.
Okay.
Not
all right.
even a year, actually. 1 year in March. Yeah.
Been there a number of months?
Been there
yes,
a
number of
months.
months. Number of months.
Beta, you got Beta.
We do have Beta.
Yeah, and SLR Honda and those guys, and Pro Yamaha. Caleb Russell.
Have Caleb
I mean,
Russell.
You got Caleb Russell this year. Anyways, how's things going with Seat Concepts?
It's great.
Yep.
Yeah, good company, a lot of fun. A little bit of a new world, being a mechanic as long as I was, working at a dealership, doing the things that I've done. You don't really realize that the seat is much more than a seat. Like, Paul, you being a mechanic too, you're like, oh, it's a seat.
Not factory, but yeah.
Holy shit, there's a lot that goes into a seat.
Yeah, yeah, there is.
It's quite the process.
You had told me, obviously, Seat Concepts huge in the dual sport world, right?
Yeah,
like
dual
really
sport
big.
adventure market is
Right.
big for us.
Very big, and that's a big market anyways,
Yeah.
now growing. But this, you've been helping Seat more getting into the moto race team stuff. I don't know if people thought of Seat Concepts for motocross and race teams.
No, I think for us, the Race 2.0 is a great product. The rib seat is. I've never been a fan of a rib seat personally, but I've also never been fast enough to justify having a rib seat. To be fair, but they are more and more common on race teams. They're pretty much every race team now runs a version of a rib seat or a bump or something.
Yep.
And that market for us has never really been. It's a target, but not a target. And in the adventure sport, the adventure market and dual sport market and the comfort model is our bread and butter. That's where we're known. Our foam is our proprietary foam that basically we've shaped the seat to cater to people that spend 60% of the time on their butt, 40% standing, or even 50-50 depending on who it is. And it's 40 plus 35 plus riders that camp and ride. But we have customers now that are becoming more aggressive in the GNCC world. The Race 2.0 is very popular for us, because that market is where Lendon and Robert and everybody kind of built it. We previously owned a quad brand that started kind of helping that along as well. So, but now with my knowledge in the Supercross, motocross side and everything, we're working on some new products and some new relationships to bring kind of us stronger into this market. We have a lot of work to do still in this side because one of our competitors owns it quite well. They've done a great job at marketing and their teams and their product. We do have some things, like I said, in the works that will kind of make us more prevalent in this space and make us a better footprint. And we'll start acquiring better teams and better things. Like, we have some really great teams right now that do a great job for us. SLR is a new addition with Mark. I've known Mark for 15 years, and the program that he's running is really great for us because of the West Coast-based desert effort, and now all the stuff he's doing with Supercross, motocross. Billy Laninovich, it was great to watch him get into a main. And Beta, we're an OEM partner with them, so that's a no-brainer for us. Having Benny and
like your hard parts line, like if
Yes.
you order Beta hard parts, it's a Seat
so if
Concepts,
you want to order a Seat Concept seat through
Yeah.
Beta, you just go on their hard parts catalog and you can pick a seat. So, and they're a great partner of ours, and then obviously it's a no-brainer for us on the racing effort with them due to our partnership. And then as we grow, Phoenix Honda is a new addition this year. Long-term relationship with David and that team. And
how's Ferrandis with seats?
He's actually been great.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's a picky with everything.
Yeah, and I've been in this industry a long time doing the mechanic thing. I started with what he liked versus me trying to force something on him that he doesn't like.
Yeah.
I had Dalen, send me his seat, send me the type of direction that he was headed with an OEM, our competitors, different foams, different everything. And I kind of built with Lyndon and the team, like we built kind of our own version of what he was using. and then there was 1 or 2 changes with rib location. He is picky, but whatever we built him now, he's fine.
And then what's like some of the more popular brands, seats, models that you do?
Comfort is our most popular, and then Element, which is the big in the snow bike world. You know, snow bikes are super prevalent in the Northwest. You know, which for listeners that don't know what they are, it's dirt bike with a snowmobile track on it.
Do you do Sur-On seats?
Yeah, we do Sur-Ons, which is a market that we haven't marketed a ton into, which is obviously Chad would love to tell you that I haven't done it yet. but Chad also and Lyndon both love to tell me that I work part-time, which anybody that knows
shots
me,
fired.
It happens every day. Yeah, I think at 9 o'clock this morning it started with, you're still here. Where am I going to go?
I mean, I was with you at Fly for a long
time. I'm in
time.
Vegas. Where the fuck am I going to go?
Didn't seem like you worked a lot of Fly either.
Shut up.
When I got with you either.
I was a mechanic with Maxie, worked hard.
Yeah, don't.
Where? When?
Butler Brothers.
Butler Brothers.
Wait, you were a mechanic at Butler Brothers? I don't think
For
I
2
knew
years.
that.
We spent 1 year together.
1 year together, yeah.
I know you were Solitaire. You were
Solitaire, Butler Brothers, Tamer Kawasaki.
Tamer, yeah, I remember
Wyvern.
Tamer. That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Wyvern.
Back to seats though.
Yeah. Anyways, back to seats. We're gonna get off on a tangent.
No. People, I feel like nowadays, like because everyone's with the generation we're in, everything else, people just want to order a complete seat. They don't want to put a foam and a cover on. Paul and I had to do that. You had to do that.
I think you're underestimating though the amount of people that are too cheap to buy a complete seat.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Like that is the one thing that I've learned in this year of doing this. Like there are a lot of customers, and it depends on the bike brand. You know, like we have a adventure seat for a Tiger 900 Triumph. That customer does not want to touch their shit.
No, yeah.
They want to buy it, bolt it on, and move on.
They spend a lot of money on the bike.
Yeah, they don't.
So,
Ducati customers, like certain customers.
But Moto guys still buying covers and
Moto
foams?
guys still would love to buy only covers and foams. You know, and then we make them buy a complete in some instances, and some we don't.
Yeah.
You know, so there is a lot of mini dads and younger guys that still want just an all black cover or a cover with pink stripes or whatever the hell's going on that day. You know, but complete seats has been a lot of our model due to honestly the demand.
Yep.
You know, we can only build so much, and we could only build so much and do so much, and with some changes internally and some structure and some things that Chad and the team have put in place, our capacity is much greater now. So you'll see a lot more products and a lot more changes coming from us of being able to build. One big thing too, Seat Concepts has never had inventory. We have 1,200 seats in stock, which is something we've never had in the history of the company because we've always been built to order. Well, now customers call in, which you've been seeing our social of in stock, because I'm driving it home every day, that now you can call and there's a chance that we have, if it's in our top 75 to 100 selling seats, we have one in stock that you can buy today, which is something we've not been able to do as a company for a long time. And you know how it is with any brand.
Yep.
Paul dealt with it through
got to make that sale immediately.
Well,
or the customer goes
the transition too of like, missed a PO, whatever it is. Well, now your customer is calling, going, "Well, I need my stuff." Well, you missed your timeline, and it takes this long to build it.
Yep.
Well, I'm losing this many sales per day.
Yeah.
We went through the same thing
sounds
of
like
losing.
It's maybe more part-time for you these days. Yeah. Crazy.
Sounds like you need to work harder.
Yeah. All right,
all of you suck.
seatconcepts.com.
All of you suck.
Pulp25, the code is SAVE, seatconcepts.com. Please check them out. Thank you to those guys. And O'Neill Team Home Lending as well. Craig and those guys, he helped you. Craig's helped you.
Craig's my buddy.
You put me in touch with him. Look, he does stuff for Dean Wilson, so you know that his rates are probably pretty good.
You know that he is, scraping every penny.
Is Dean coming home anytime soon?
Yeah, he's coming home eventually. He's having a
where
great time
is
over
he
there.
now?
I think he's going to Aberdeen or something this weekend. He's been hanging out with his cousin in Scotland, so he's having a great time.
He's like a global racer now. That's all he does. He's like JT. He's like the new JT.
If you want,
making money.
If you want to do refi, you want to consolidate your debt, you're preparing to buy a home, O'Neill Team are there to guide you through the mortgage process. Reach out to Craig, 619-535-7477, O'NeillTeamHomeLending.com for more information. O'Neill is Oneil, teamhomelending.com. Consult Craig. He'll help you out. He helped Paul out. He's helped Dean
Great
Wilson
dude.
out.
Yeah.
Get O'Neill Home Team Lending, 100% Seat Concepts, Decal Works, Maxis, all on board with us. 702-586-PULP. We got a little more time for questions, but let's go 450. So Sexton is 10 up on Webb in fourth. There's 10 points between four riders going forward. Obviously, Jet's out for a while. Anderson's after that. Anderson's 10 back of Webb. And it's really hard to see Anderson jumping these guys. Obviously, injuries can happen and all that. But the title is coming out of these four riders. I think we all can expect that. Tomac has been – I kind of ranked them. I wrote my column for Racer X this week, and I ranked them speed, smarts, stamina,
Stamina.
Stamina.
Got it.
And I ranked them basically speed, Tomac, Sexton tied, then Roczen, then Webb. Track smarts, Webb is ranked number 1. And Sexton's probably last in that because he does make some more mistakes. And then different reasons. And starts is another thing you got to have. And I ranked Tomac and Sexton the worst and Kenny the best. Mm-hmm. So just in a roundabout sort of way, looking at these 4 riders and looking at speed, starts, smarts, track smarts, and stamina, I mean, I feel like they're all over the place. I don't feel like there's a clear contender. Do I like Chase to win the title? Yes, by a small percent over the other guys. But I mean, seriously, like we mentioned, it's a barn burner here.
It's. I think Kenny is definitely climbing the consistency ladder very quickly, which, like, I think he's gaining more confidence. It's not like he's getting better, but he's getting better. His starts are consistent.
Yeah.
His performances are consistent. Whether he starts in 7th or 2nd, he's there. He's consistently there.
Yeah.
Eli is 8 or 1st. Or works through. Like, Webb, building. Chase, if he gets a start, Chase gone. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm excited just to watch as a fan because I think it's going to be great because I think all of these guys, I said this earlier, I bet you all of them woke up on Wednesday just ready to eat bullets and just rip through their program, had the best day at the track ever because they know the number 1 isn't going to be on the track anymore. And they know hey, I've beaten all these guys I've lined up over here next to before. I know I can do it. Mm-hmm. That other guy, he's very, very good. He's going to be hard to beat. I had to be on my best game. So I think Jet has raised the level because all these guys are the best in January that they've ever been, especially for Tomac, and Kenny's the best he's ever been. So maybe not,
Kenny? Yeah, I don't think Kenny's the best he's ever been.
That's right.
Yes,
maybe not the best he's ever been. But, man, Kenny is so
good.
consistent.
He's got a new suspension guy and factory transmission.
That's what I mean. Like,
he's good.
I would love to see Kenny stay in this thing all the way to the end. Like we've seen him kind of fall off at the end in years past, but man, he's awesome.
I don't see him falling off.
I still need to see it.
I don't see him falling off.
I'm not sold that he's not going to. I hope not.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'm not sold that he's not going to anymore.
Right.
I feel like he's had so much years of experience in dealing with all that, and so many times it was body stuff, right? Like that's what he told us. And I think that I'm hopeful that he doesn't fall off this year. Yeah.
So rank them in order of title. I'm going to ask you who's going to win Tampa later this show, but rank them in title for you, Max. Like I'll go Sexton, Webb, Tomac, Roczen.
I'm going to go Sexton, Roczen, Webb, Tomac.
Okay.
Sexton, Tomac, Webb, Roczen.
Okay, so we all got Roczen 4, right? Did
I had him 3.
Oh, 3. Okay. Who was your 4th? Oh, Tomac was your 4th. Just because of inconsistency?
Feel bad about or Tomac?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I could be he's proven.
Well,
he's proven that this week he could come out and just start crushing skulls every single lap.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
He's out of the West Coast now.
That's the problem with Eli.
And Daytona's coming up.
That's what I mean.
I mean, with no Jet, Eli's heavily favored.
He's one of the easiest guys to not pick and then regret your pick within 2 laps of the main event.
I think if you're John and Eli, you have got 1 win and then you haven't been on the box the other 3 races. You're still happy, I think, with your start. Like, I think you're still happy.
You're 9 out of the lead after 4 rounds. You're fine.
Yeah,
you're not even stressed.
And you're that fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not searching, right?
Yeah.
So every guy's got a case to be really happy, I think.
That's what I mean. Like that's what I feel like you're going to go interview these guys on this weekend, ask them how Wednesday was, how their week was. I bet you they're all going to be dialed.
Webb and Eli, though, both are like the same statement I just made for Eli. Like Webb is the same thing. Like he could make me regret every word by lap 4 this weekend, and he just dominates.
Yeah.
No, very well.
They both have the ability to all of a sudden, like you said, like maybe this week is what they needed mentally to go, okay, I can go now.
Yeah.
And then they just start crushing everything.
Part of me looks at that last Triple Crown, and Sexton knew he didn't need to beat Eli to win the overall. He knew that. Now, listen, these guys are alphas. They don't ever want to let that happen. But part of me is like, hey, what if Sexton, could Sexton have maxed Eli? I don't know.
I look at that like, who even cares? Like, you have 25 points in hand sitting on his rear fender for the rest of the day. You have your bonus check. You have the bread pull. Why go past him?
Yeah.
What is the point?
Well, no, Eli caught and passed him. So
so Eli's ripping, and which we're going to have days where, like, he's ripping, and you just can't sit with him. So like that is a situation where you're putting yourself at risk for no good reason, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Monday, I didn't really think about the mental thing until you said it. Like this weekend is going to show a lot of these guys because that one anomaly of their day and their week is gone.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, well, like Paul said, I beat every one of these dudes. I can crush them all.
Yeah.
Are they all coming in this weekend with a total new outlook on life and just like it's a four-way battle all week?
I think if you're Feld, you're stoked on the way things are setting up for the series. Obviously, you want Jet there. I'll get it, but you're stoked
obviously
on
that's a loss, but
I think you're stoked on the racing. No, it's not.
I think it's great for TV and for the fans.
Ticket sales,
for a
right?
fan.
Like,
I'm pumped to watch it.
And so far, let's cross fingers too. The weather's been good.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't want to see what we had last year, which was kind of a slog.
I got no problem with seeing a mutter or two.
Couple more calls.
I'm not a mechanic anymore.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't have to watch it. I don't care.
Sean's on one. What's up, Sean?
Hey, so with the mechanic talk that's been going on, I'm a pro mechanic as well, and formerly was a mechanic for the Skeptical. That is Alex Ray. So,
oh my God.
I'm sorry.
You were Alex's mechanic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, with the
Why?
Honda team that he was previously with. Well, actually, that was my first rider ever. Also.
Okay. So you didn't really have a standard
I got
to
thrown
work
directly
with.
to the rules, to the Wolves. So, but we had zero mechanicals. Yep. So I was wondering if you guys have ever, like, the story you guys got, because now working with other riders are like, dude, I almost died. I'm like, no, you really didn't. I had Alex. So how do you go about learning another rider and adapting to him, because we're pretty much our mental coach also.
Oh.
Yeah, you're a mediator, a mental coach, sometimes a girlfriend, depending on the rider. Like whatever it's got to be. There really is no, in my opinion, there's no real map. You just spend time with them and understand them and understand their little. It's like hanging out with Mathis.
Whoa.
Some days it's easy and some days it's not.
Yeah.
You just got to take little bites and learn everything you can from them and understand their little.
Shots fired.
In my opinion, the friendship grows as trust in each other grows. So, like, when I was a mechanic, I was a previous rider, and I was just terrified of getting my guy hurt by making a mistake.
Yeah.
So I think you gain the relationship and you gain the trust by being over the top, perfect and cautious and double, triple checking. So your guy, when he steps foot on the bike, is like, I know this thing's perfect and nothing's going to fall off. Because as soon as one thing falls off, then there's doubt in their head, and I think you lose that trust, and it's very, very hard to get it back. So at least that was my approach.
I would agree. Like, I started with Danny Smith in '98, and I screwed something up early. Nothing, like, he didn't get hurt or anything, but I just screwed something up. I never got
it back.
Never got that back,
Yeah.
right? And nothing happened again, and we were friends, but I could tell.
First impressions go a long way, and you have to. It's just like starting a new job, in my opinion. Like, you have to be awesome in the beginning, otherwise you give your superior or your manager or your whatever, you give them a reason to
like Max has done with C Concept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anytime you give a thread of doubt to your rider, like that's all they think about.
Yeah.
And I'm still friends with. I'm a mechanic for Cole Siebler for a big majority of my career, and I'm still friends with him. He's a KTM district manager. He's actually here at AIM.
He's at KTM now.
Yeah, he's a KTM DM, and but with him as a prime example, like I had one instance, like my second year, I lost an exhaust of all things, and the whole can fell off, and he came in, and it took probably a solid year before I lived that down. Like, and it wasn't, the bolt broke. It wasn't even something that I could have controlled, but still it's a failure.
Yeah.
And it did cause a DNF for us. And, so that's a big deal for us. And it took a long time to build it back. But I think once you establish the friendship with them and the trust, you'll learn the rest as you go. But the trust is everything, like Paul said. Like, they have to have 100% faith that
you're not going to be friends with them if they don't trust you.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for the call.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Last call here on the show is from Evan. What's up, Evan?
How you doing, fellas?
Good.
It was kind of a rant, but I kind of did my little research. Pretty much with Peacock having all the, rights to the races and stuff. We went from, 3 televised last year, and now we're up to 5. Is the tide kind of turning? Because it's kind of still blows my mind that with the season that we have right now, how that's not on, mainstream cable.
Dude, we're just not that big, man. We're just a niche sport.
Does it even matter anymore?
I don't feel like it does.
No,
everything is streamed.
With the Peacock subscription thing, like, I love the fact that you can go rewatch them,
Yeah.
rewind them, do whatever you want. Like I would rather not watch it live.
Me too.
I'd rather watch it on Peacock.
It's in the same place every time now for every single round. I don't think it's ever been better.
Not to mention, you can watch it anywhere. Like, you can be anywhere and just log into your Peacock account and watch it.
I couldn't watch it when I was in Europe.
Why?
They don't let you.
You need international.
Yeah, it's different if you're kind of like based in the U.S. and then you have to travel and you can't. I tried to use a VPN and all kinds of. It's different.
Well,
that was the
luckily
one
for me, I don't go to Europe a lot. So.
From a new fan standpoint, they had an aerial view of Tomac going past Sexton, and if I was a new fan and saw that would pique my interest. But not knowing that you have to go to Peacock just to see that view.
Yeah.
Stinks.
Yeah, but I'm also in the camp that why are we catering to the new fans? Like, does this industry and this sport really produce a ton of new customers every single year? Like brand new out of the TV package or something? We need to, but we
don't.
That's
no.
what I mean.
And that's Feld's goal is obviously, I think 5. I honestly think if you get past 5 or 6, I'd be shocked. I don't see it because you're comparing us to. I mean, this is a terrible example, but even an NBA game or a Golden Knights game, like the viewership for an NHL game or an NBA game is 5 times probably the viewership for a Supercross. And that's a standard. That's a standard. That's a standard. Tuesday night hockey game. Like it's not match or whatever the hell hockey's called.
I don't like catering to the new fans.
Yeah.
The Honda's red. This is come on.
You guys know me. We are on ESPN. We were on Jay Leno. We were on Conan O'Brien.
Yep.
And that's awesome. It's great. And the sport is almost the same as it was when I started as a mechanic. Like,
100%.
whatever. We just are what we are, man. And so.
I think
which is fine.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
No, it's good. It's probably,
there's a lot of people in this industry that make good livings.
If you look at the sport in America, it is probably 3rd or 4th biggest motorsport in America.
Yeah.
NASCAR, IndyCar.
Yeah.
We're probably after that. Is there another motorsport that's bigger?
Not to mention you're asking all these major TV things, entities, whatever you want to call them, to tie up every single Saturday at the same time for 17
4 hours.
For 17 straight weeks for 4 hours.
Yep.
That's a lot of valuable money.
Evan, we got to run. Thanks, though. Thanks for the call. Thanks for listening.
Good, boys.
Thanks for watching and listening to Fly Race and Moto 60 Show. All right. It's over.
Oh.
Tampa, give me your winners.
Levi Kitchen and Chase Sexton.
All right. I will go Kitchen, and I'm looking at those sand sections. Eli Tomac will get another win. Max?
I'm going to go Kitchen and Kenny.
All right. Sounds good. That's Fly Race and Moto 60 Show for another day. Thank you to O'Neill Home Team Lending, Seat Concepts, Decal Works, 100% Max's Get. Max, thanks for coming in. Max Steffens from Seat Concepts. Paul Perebijnos, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Tits, great job. Fantastic.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Marks.
Top-notch work.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Good job, Marks.
Fair job.
All right, everybody. That's been Moto 60 for another week. We'll see you next Thursday. Thanks for watching and listening.